All right, guys, so we are live. I'm going to keep the picture-in-picture off. I know there were some problems last time. Probably got to figure out the bit rate or something. Maybe tinker with that. I'm going to keep that off because I think that was probably part of slowing it down last time. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Yeah, nice day today. Two winners. So that makes us 7 for 7 on the month. And that is what this kind of volatility in this market can do. Um, and Really, as a swing trader, you crave that volatility. So nice job there today. Let's talk about the markets, though. I'll talk a little bit about the website later. But so we had some weakness this morning. We kind of gapped up here on the SPY, and we kind of filled this gap here just about, and then hit that 100 moving average. And we kind of pulled back, and it looked like we were going to fade, but there's really not a lot of volume there. It wasn't a very aggressive sell. And we got this little doji here pulling back, and I tweeted out, I was like, yeah, we probably have a chance to put in the bottom here, and that was the bottom. We just rallied up all day long. Let's see. So there, but outside of that, there was some pretty, there was a lot of weakness in the morning. Look at Apple, Tesla here. That went pretty far negative in the AM. Got all the way down to that 100 MA. IGV was really soft earlier on, but finished really well. Microsoft and Google both were very weak in the morning, but again, the light volume kind of kicked in. If we look here on the SPY, let's see what we did here. Yeah, just 68 million shares, so not terrible volume, but way lighter than yesterday. So market's getting a bit of a relief rally. We thought the market would be green today. It was. Ultimately, this doesn't really change a whole lot from my thesis. We kind of expected a rally here, and we'll just kind of see what kind of pattern we get here with the market. But we did really well in our trades so far, and we're just kind of just waiting for the market to show us its hand. But we did have some nice days here. So semis up 3.6%, cloud software just under 3% up. And still, this looks like if you look on the intraday, some of these charts, look at that strong move on cloud. You'd think that it was up massively. Same thing with the semis, but they were up decently, but still way inside of this red bar. Same thing on cloud, way inside of this previous red bar here. So, IWM finally getting a bounce, but still, within last week's high. So this market's not anywhere close to out of the woods, but it was a nice little rally. Let's take a look at the Dow. So the diamond came down, hit the 200 moving average. Nice bounce today. It's kind of hanging in there. But again, still way inside of the highs. The Dow is outperforming all the indices. And the triple Qs. Finding resistance right at this midline here. And this is it's got a lot of work to do before it starts to look bullish. Now, if we have another day like this, like today, then things might change. But, we'll just have to see, wait and see what happens. We were expecting a bounce here, and we'll just see what kind of pattern it gives us. Let's see. Yeah, let's go through some sectors here. So Bitcoin getting a bounce finally, up almost 4%. Kind of just trying to get out of this little wedge pattern. If it can get above this red bar, then maybe it can go fill this gap up here around 53. But until then, still kind of muted. But it did show relative strength yesterday, so I said that was a positive, and that's probably why it was able to push a little bit higher today. Ethereum also, technically looking a little bit better than Bitcoin. I mentioned that yesterday. This looks like it wants to actually. I like this little pattern here. This looks like it wants to attack the highs. It's got to get above 41.6150. But when it does that, it can go right up to this high. So Ethereum shaping up a little bit better than Bitcoin right now. Let's talk about the dollar index. Dollar just kind of flattish to negative. Again, been saying this for a while. It's just kind of holding this bullish pattern here. Probably will hold that into the end of the year. And then I think you get a move probably sometime early next year in January or something like that. Yields had a nice pop this morning. So 10-year here, a nice pop. Did come off the highs. They had a good bond auction. The 30-year came well off the highs. But if you look at, the hourly, you can see it kind of came into this kind of pivot area anyway. Actually, if we pull it back, I think you can see another pivot here. Yeah, so you had kind of this, these little pivots right in here, this area. this bar high, this low. So you were going to probably pull back anyway, but that auction just gave it a little bit of juice to pull back. Now, if yields start to make a higher low, then that tells you that they want to advance. I do think the 30-year is stronger. I know the 30-year is stronger than the 10-year. So at least at the moment. But anyway, yields getting a nice bounce, and the stock market, semis and tech was up despite yields being higher. That's just because tech just needed a technical bounce essentially. So I wouldn't say there's any difference in the negative or positive correlation. Excuse me, negative correlation between tech and yields, other than just that there was a technical bounce today. So I wouldn't make anything out of that. Copper having a nice day as well, up 1.3. I think copper is poised for a move here. I don't know if it can push through all-time highs. I mean, it's tried multiple times in the past, and it's failed every time. But I keep saying I like this weekly inside bar. It just keeps holding this level every time it gets down there. It keeps popping back up, and I like that level. It's not terrible. The only thing is, you're still kind of away from this 20-month moving average. But I think if this starts to creep up and it catches up to price, there's a chance copper can pop again. I don't know if it lasts, but just something interesting to keep an eye on there. Because every time it tries to basically rip to $5-6 or whatever, it always fails. But interesting little chart there. Gold pulling back a little bit. Again, yields were up, so that's putting pressure on gold. But this is not a bad pattern. 1-2 bar surge, inside bar, 3-bar pullback, probably gets a pop tomorrow. Or at least maybe sometime this week. But that's a nice little pullback there. If you start to advance, it probably gets up to 1820. If you can get through that, it's 1840, 1850. So that's it on gold. Silver actually stronger today. Maybe that's a little bit of the industrial demand going on. So maybe silver reflecting copper's price a little bit. So silver and copper bidding. So that could be a thing, but nice little move up, 2-bar pullback, and then a bit of a pop. Still found resistance at the 20. You need to close above that 20. And then you can get above this, then you can move higher. Now, I talked in the weekend about a potential for a W bottom. So because you're kind of like W. But it's still really premature to like call it that right now. Now if it pushes up and it can get back above these moving averages and this kind of breakdown area, then you could say, yeah, you might have a W bottom there. So that's worth keeping an eye on in silver. But for now, we'll just kind of let it do its thing. Platinum holding pattern, nice little consolidation there, and palladium, same kind of deal. I still think platinum's got one more dip though. Let's talk about, what do I got here? Let's talk about crude. Love this one. So we took, obviously, with patrons, we took UCO yesterday, sold half of that. We still have half of this. This is just, I love this setup so much. You have a bullish pattern, and then you have the fake breakdown, test candle. They got it all the way down below this low, and basically it's just a bear trap. And almost every time you see something like this, the next day you get a nice move in the opposite direction, and that's exactly what happened. I think crude is probably going to get up to at least 75, 75.50. If you can get through that, maybe 77. But I like this move here on crude there. Awesome stuff. Nat gas, still kind of just chopping around in this range. This is going lower. We already have our buy level for that, so we're just waiting for that. That setup. XLE, nice recovery after that absolute stinker yesterday. It did come off the lows yesterday, but I mean, this is just not a good look. Nice little rebound though. I think this has got some resistance up here though. Be careful with XLE. XOP, same thing. Probably somewhere right where this white line is, you're probably going to have resistance. And the OIH is just the laggard of the oil stocks. But nice rally today, up 5.25. This is going to have resistance probably right around 200, 202. So that is it on that. We talked about financials. Actually, before we do that, let's talk about the Turkish market. I forgot, I mentioned I was going to cover this yesterday, but I forgot about it. So this thing was an absolute free fall, as you can see. The lira is just out of control, just completely collapsing. And I believe the Turkish government did some type of short-term uh, ban on short selling, something like that, and that it basically, yeah, just they manipulated their market higher essentially. But of course, little do they know it's going to make it worse because short covering actually causes it actually helps prevent crashes. But anyway, wild moves here in the Turkish stock market. Was negative today after a wild day yesterday. Um, yeah, Dow Transports, nice bounce today. Again, I talked about this yesterday. This is Dow Transports are weak. I know this looks like a bullish pattern. Got a nice move up, pull back into the 20 moving average. Usually that's like a good buying area. The fact that you closed below this green bar low last week is a turnoff. I think this pattern probably fails, honestly. You might get a little bit of a bid up, but I think it gets faded just based on that close last week. Yeah, so financials looking much, much better today. Much better. We talked about how poor this was yesterday. XLF barely hung on to the 200, broke below that trend line. You got back above that. Goldman Sachs negated this head and shoulders pattern. There's Goldman. And there's a trend line. So we triggered it yesterday. You negated it, closed back above the 200. So Goldman is looking much better. JP Morgan bouncing off the lows. This one's still a weak name though. Bank of America, reversing off the lows. Broker dealers having a nice day. So it almost triggered a head and shoulders yesterday. They closed it just above the line, and a nice rally here today for broker dealers. So financials looking way better. Also Visa and MasterCard coming off the lows and starting to chop sideways. So they might want to make an advance here. This is not a terrible pattern here on the credit card stocks. So financials looking a lot better with that higher yield. That's really all I had. We took SE. That was the other one that we took a winner on. This probably gets up to 234 tomorrow. It might even get up to 240. But in this market, this is actually a weak name, and this is actually going lower. I've got this penciled in for a much lower move from here. So this was just a quick bounce play. We took 9% on it. Thank you. See ya. Rinse and repeat. So gotta love that. But yeah, overall, nice bounce on the market, but I'm not expecting this to necessarily last. What would change my opinion? Does it make a new all-time high? That's really the only thing that's going to change my opinion. I think we're going to run into some selling right here. 465 area, and if we get up to it, 470. But yeah, anyways, we'll get into questions here. I'm assuming the video is going okay because nobody's saying anything, so. Oh yeah, so yeah, VIX. It's acting much more like it's supposed to. Yesterday was very strange. It was very strange. That's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to be green today, because the VIX should this is the VXX here, but it doesn't matter. It should not have been up that much. Yeah, granted the market was down 1.5% at one point, so a large VIX move is warranted, but if you look at the selling, like it wasn't like the market was panic dumping. It was just kind of this grind lower, almost like it was just like algos doing it. There was no, real panic selling. And the VIX typically doesn't rise that much. Even if the market's lower, it doesn't rise that much if there's not panic selling. The VIX is more of a fear index. And when the market kind of just grinds lower, kind of in a controlled, orderly fashion, the VIX typically doesn't rally that much. And it was just very strange. And the fact that the VXX went into contango, that was very strange. Very strange. It's not normal for that to happen. But I figured we'd probably have I figured that was probably a head fake. And it looks like it was. So VIX coming back in. This probably, I really hate that it spiked yesterday. I wanted it to just continue lower. I still think we make a low here in the VIX. And probably the next, maybe week, 2 weeks, we'll see. But we'll just continue to watch it. But yeah, it's acting much more normalized today for sure. Yeah, and Taylor, yeah, we will get in. We will get in. Thanks, Batman. Yes, hit the like, comment, subscribe, etc. Um, you could short nat gas here if you're aggressive. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. So I would do. You could do like AOLD. This is basically inverse boil. The thing is, this moves really fast, and I'm not that aggressive on shorting that gas because it's not that far from our target. Um, Actually, come to think of it, it really needs to kind of get down to our target pretty soon. Otherwise, I'm not going to like that play anymore. But yeah, so basically what I would do is you could just short UNG, or if you have futures, just short the futures and just put a stop above 408 on a weekly basis. So any close on Friday above this pivot high, that's your stop out. But yeah, I mean, now come to think of it, I'm not sure about this nat gas play might be a little bit lower here. If it doesn't start breaking down very soon, I'm not sure if I like that level that much anymore. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Yeah, the notification. So they're actually so Jared, there's actually a mobile app, and I'll have everybody I'm going to send it out to everybody tonight that was going to do the beta testing. I'm going to do a bunch of tests on the website, make sure everything works. But there's also, it's Spaces by Wix. So if you download, go into your app store on your phone, there's going to be a mobile app for the website too. And it'll work just like how the Patreon app works. And it'll send you, there's like a blog essentially, that'll be the trade alerts. And it'll send you push notifications and all that. So it'll be, it'll just work like that. And there's way more. There are like I'm gonna have like a members forum and stuff like that on the website. In fact, I can show you guys. Um, so there's like a community forum, and well, you can't see it right now because you gotta like sign up. But yeah, that'll be on the app too. And the app is pretty cool. The Wix app, I've played around with it. It's actually pretty nice, and I like it better than Patreon. There's just a lot. It's just a lot easier to use, to be honest. Yeah, son. So it's possible that we could have a blow off move. Um, I mean, I definitely entertain that idea, and I'm prepared for it if it happens. I mean, we know the way we're positioned right now. We're not sure at all. So, um, but I'm also not quite seeing anything that makes me think we need to be short just yet. And I think I'll be pretty sure that I'm going to know when the time comes. But if it does turn into a blow off mood, we're positioned perfectly fine for this. Our positioning is actually quite consistent with being risk on. Um, Now, some of the positions we have, we're not like exactly trying to be married to, but um, yeah, I mean, I really like the way we're positioned right now. I love how we were able to cover our shorts right at the lows a month ago, um, and then just kind of, play with this market, let it while it's figuring itself out. And we're beating the market percentage wise right now, like very easily, actually. Um, the market's been sideways for 2 months, so and that's the benefit of swing trading. So, but yeah, I mean, it's possible. And if that does happen, and I already have dates worked out for if that does happen. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if this market's got that much in it, to be honest. There's just too many weak. The Dow transport's losing that level. Um, I talked to you guys about this. That right there, that losing that inside bar low, I don't like that. It tells me that there's something wrong with the market. Whenever you lose a green bar like that after a bullish pattern, it's not, even if you reclaim it, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant now. It tells me that this is probably a fadeable bounce. Jared, if you download um, the Patreon app, it'll it'll send you push notifications. And the Wix app, it's called Spaces by Wix. Download that. It's an actual app. So that way you won't have to worry about like, because I know that there's delays with email, but the app should be more instantaneous. And that's going to be part of the beta testing too. I want to make sure like the notifications are going out fast. But yeah, make sure you guys have the apps, because the apps will get you the notifications way faster than the email. And I know the UCO, that was a tough one. It just, I was watching crude, and you see, I'm trying to remember where exactly it was. Yeah, it was like right in this area, and I said, okay, as soon as it starts to get above this red bar, I was like, yep, I'm gonna jump on board. And then it just kind of, it just ran as soon as it got above that red bar, really. And it did kind of pull back a little bit in the morning, like pre-market. I think it pulled back down to, I think it got to like 73.50. But I mean, that wouldn't have been a terrible entry, honestly, but you would have had to have seen it pre-market. And it's a lot harder to get filled pre-market too. But yeah, so, I mean, it's just tough, but if you guys get the app though, it'll be a lot faster. Yeah, it was definitely a short squeeze, like 100%. That's pretty much every rally. Um, that's how every rally starts, in fact. But you know what, this market, how many chances, I said this yesterday, how many chances have they had to squeeze this to all-time highs and they haven't been able to do it? I don't think that they're trying that hard. I think that yesterday, the smart bears closed or covered their shorts into the final hour. You see that? And the dumb ones got squeezed out today. You got a little bit of a technical retrace here, but there wasn't a lot of volume behind this, so it's not like there was heavy selling conviction, and then just some covering. And then this is covering into the close too. So a lot of the times when you see a big power bar into the end of the day, that's just day traders covering. It's not necessarily anyone else. Like, they probably tried to short this breakdown here, couldn't really get it down because there wasn't enough volume, and so they covered before the close, because they don't want to lose their day trading buying power for the next day. But yeah, I know this looks like a nice little pop. And this one, I'll admit, I was this one and this one here. I was a little bit faked out. I thought that we probably had a chance to push to all-time highs there. Not that I was like, crazy changing my sentiment or anything, but I thought that's probably what would happen, and they took it right down. They took it right down both times. So they're going to do it a third time. We'll see. Yeah, the sentiment of this market is changing so quickly, and I just, I haven't changed mine as far as what I think is going to happen. Maybe near term, my sentiment has changed a little bit, but on a day-to-day basis. But everybody is just getting so crazy. I will say though that was it yesterday or couple days? It was last week. I said, well, maybe my 370. Yeah, it was after this day. I was like, well, maybe my 370 year event target won't hit after all. But now it's starting to look like it might actually happen on the Qs by the end of the year. We only got like a week and a half left, but if they fade this rally, it can easily get down there. Let's look at, sorry, Miranda, JVA. Coffee holding. What do these guys make coffee? Or are they like a coffee company? Okay, so you got a lot of support right here. And I mean a ton. The only problem I have with it is you've already double bottomed here. So you hit it once, and then you're kind of hitting it again. You are a little oversold. Oh, and the other thing I don't like about this name is it only trades about 50,000 shares a day. So one institution could decide that it wants to dump this company for whatever reason, and it could like cause it to, you know, that's why you're seeing these huge spikes like this. So it can be a very volatile name, but that's a lot of support right there. It's just I don't like that you hit it once, and then you put in a lower high, and now you're coming back and down and testing it again. Um, the SP. That's why I mean I like using. I like Fareed. I love the. I use the SPY. That's my favorite. I look at the futures for different references because sometimes I don't like to look at the same chart all day long, and sometimes you can see things on the futures that you can't see on the spider, and so it gives you a little bit of a different perspective. But the reason I use the SPY is it's representing the cash session, which is where the volume is. If you add up all the volume, like look at today on the futures, what 1.4 million. So if we do 1.4 million contracts, we multiply that by just say 46, 42. All right, there's 6.5 billion market cap for today. And if we look at the SPY, even just at 68 million times 463, it's 31.5 billion market cap. So that's 5 times the market cap. So this is representing the big boys. This is representing the institutions, and that's where the market moves. So I don't. How many times have we seen the market gap up and then fade, or it gaps down? In the overnight it was down all night, and then all of a sudden the futures turn positive as soon as the market opens. So I do like to use the spider there for that. But yeah, they really pumped it up here, and they really got people on board, just like they did early in November. That was a nasty reversal on the Nasdaq, and it has not recovered since. He actually did. I didn't listen to him. What? I don't even know what to make of that. I mean, he can't really do anything because there's states that can just ignore it and make their own policy. I didn't hear that though. I'm sure I'll hear about it though. I'll just put it this way. I'm surprised Biden found the podium he was supposed to be at. Um, Alibaba, yeah, this was nice. I would have loved for it to gap up to just gap above this open and run, but this should have some good upside tomorrow. A nice little close on it. Should have a little squeeze. Gets above the 20 MA. You probably go right to this little area that this kind of, it's a minor area. It's a little bit of consolidation, but this name's a little weak. By the way, I wrote this down yesterday. The China stocks, we're going to keep an eye on them in about 2 weeks because of the January effect. Look at FXI, Duo, IQ, AI, Baidu, JD. So there's probably a lot of tax loss selling in these names. Now I know that they carry a little bit of political risk, but just keep your position small and be smart about it. I think these could have a pretty good rally come January. So this is definitely on my radar. Also on my radar, at least for some type of a move, is gold stocks into January. If nothing else, just for a January effect rally. But well, they'll be on the watch there. So let's look at the dollar. I don't so what would you say, 95.50? Yeah, if it gets down there. I don't know if it does though. This is a strong pattern. This is a good weekly pattern. It is getting a little, I mean, here's what happened. It got really overbought and now it's kind of consolidating. It had a nice week last week too. The dollar's ultimately going to 98, 99 though. But I don't think it really. Trend is up. It's starting to get stronger. I don't know. I don't think the dollar retraces that much. And if it does retrace, I might even buy it. Like we could take like EUO. I think there's one more good leg up. And the one reviewing this whole year, I was bullish the dollar really pretty much all the way back to March-ish. And I was like, yeah, the dollar's going to rise and the market's going to, there's elephant in the room and the dollar is going to rise and the market's going to have to respect it. And the market just hasn't respected it at all. But I think once the market starts to respect it, that'll be kind of where it starts to top out. It'll be kind of like the blow off for the dollar. But yeah, it's just amazing how the dollar has been this strong and the market just keep making all-time highs. Except it's not the market, it's 5 stocks. I mean, you look at all these growth stocks that have been crushed. It's almost criminal what they can do with the stock market. I mean, there should be a cap on the percentage of weighting that each stock can be. Because Apple the NASDAQ 100, 50% of it is 6 stocks. The S&P, 25% of it is 6 stocks. It's absurd. RCON, yeah, you're into support right now. I was actually looking at this earlier. First price 156, yeah. Yeah, you're in there right now. This was a company that got I can't remember the exact details, but they basically got scammed by a hedge fund, essentially. It looks like Viacom. But yeah, they got absolutely smoked. Yeah, I'd say right around here, $1.50, $1.40. But if you if you take a position in this, like make it really small. They could set it up for a bull trap. I just don't think we're going to make an all-time high. I think maybe a nominal high at best. Kind of like how they did with the futures. Maybe they get the spiders to pierce all-time high, and we hit this trend line one more time and then come down. I mean, well, we got like a week and a half left of trading. Plus, this week is going to be a nothing burger probably because it's the holidays. Or or we could just see some chop. It's possible. Let's see. Yeah, Bob Dole. Yeah. I mean, he is like a walking SNL skit. When Biden makes a speech, they always go long. They pump. That nobody pumps the market better than Kudlow and Trump did, though. I mean, it was so pathetic that it was almost like I had to respect their dedication to pumping the markets. Be like 3:30 in the morning, and the futures are down like more than 0.5%, and like somehow Kudlow would appear on TV and like a V-shaped recovery, we're going higher. It's like, how do you even care that much? But and then they had Mnuchin, he was their other boy, but Man, that was something else. Yeah, I think that's exactly where. Yeah, Fareed, I think yeah, 98. I think 99. Um, I don't think we necessarily get there this year. I think it probably just chops until the end of the year. But yeah, next early next year we got to watch for it. RSP. Oh, the equal weighting. Yeah, yeah. This is actually not performed terribly bad. Um, I thought it was performing much worse than the actual S&P, but I think it's more so than Nasdaq that's weak right now. Like if you look at the composite is much weaker than the NDX, and that's because all these Roku's and Peloton, Teladoc, Zoom, Zillow, DocuSign, DraftKings. DraftKings is going to $10, by the way. Uh, yeah, you take this right here, 74 bucks down to 39. So 35 points. And you subtract that from 45. Yeah, it's going about 10 bucks. But yeah, all these ridiculous high flyers that are in the Nasdaq, uh, they're dragging down the composite a little bit more than the 100. Okay, well, let's see. 46.50. Yeah. Um, I'm honestly looking more at where is it? Well, actually, here. I mean, here's a good. This is just kind of what I use when I get into these situations. You just take a fib. So that's kind of, yeah, 46.50. Yep. That's right there. That's your fib, but this is also, so here's your first leg down, and then you kind of consolidated here, broke down, back tested it. So there will be sellers here. Um, you probably trade up to that tomorrow, though. In fact, I'll almost guarantee that we trade up to that tomorrow. I'm looking more at the NASDAQ, though, as far as for things to fade here. Look how much weaker this is. Oh, hold on here. See, I'm glad I pulled this up. Might have an inverse head and shoulder there. 15.5. Okay, so it's like 300 points. Okay, yeah, so that'll take you up to about 16.1. This isn't a big time frame pattern. It's not a major. 16.1. Okay, where's 16.1? Oh, exactly where the 618 is. So that's where you're going on the NASDAQ futures tomorrow. That's right where we're going tomorrow. Book it. 16.1. And see how I love how charts work. I love how charts work. But yeah, we'll hit that tomorrow. Quick call 50-50 with retailers. Move, go high. Yeah, yeah, 470. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to do an outlook on 2022. It's hard to. So this was an inversion year, basically. So this should have been this year. I had this year penciled in as a bear. Like essentially, I was looking for something close to like 2011, um, maybe 2018, some type of a like maybe we hold up into February, March, and then we have a rollover, big bounce in the middle of June, and then kind of another sell-off late in the year. It was an inversion year, and the last time we had an inversion year was really like 2017. If you guys know like how like the GAN years of a decade work, usually 7 is a bear year, 1's a bear year. And this one was the complete opposite. We just went straight up. Also, the first year of a president's term is usually a bear year. So that was also inverted. Again, inverted this year. Biden's first year, or first term, and we were inverted. So next year is going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, you're going to have typical turning points in your typical times like March. I already have a date worked out in March. I don't know what the market's going to look like going up into that, but I know it's major. And then I already have like if this cycle doesn't quite play out, or if, however happens, there's already kind of a date worked out in the middle of January for something that could happen. So, but yeah, it's hard to really predict a whole year, but I can give kind of an idea for what I'm looking at. Oh, the SPX and crude? Yeah. Well, we can just do this. Let's do it like this. Um, 5 days. Oops. There we go. Yeah. Yep. In fact, I'm glad you brought this up because I'm just gonna remove this. Yeah. So you notice how if you guys watch the daily videos, you notice how like I've been talking about these ABC up patterns. See the moving yields, ABC up, crude, ABC potentially, XLF, ABC. Well, it tried to make one, then kind of broke down. The XLE kind of tried to do one, then it broke down. There's a bunch of other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, you could even say like the S&P, like it had this ABC kind of pattern. They're all kind of, it's strange. We're seeing a move here where yields are acting like risk on. But the thing is, if yields get through 1.7, it won't be a risk on thing anymore. But yeah, I do know what you're talking about. There is a positive correlation everywhere, and I'm seeing it on a lot of things. The gap below this week. Let's see. Which gap are you looking at? You mean this one from yesterday? I don't think we fill it this week, but it will get filled. I think it's more likely we probably fill this one first. Eventually we'll fill this one right there. And there's some other really big ones. Eventually it's going to fill this one at 400. You notice how the S&P never back checked 400? We broke out of 4,000 S&P and it never once even back tested, and it left a couple of nasty gaps on the chart. There's other ones too, way down here. 335. This will get filled eventually. And it's like, oh yeah, but look how far away it is. So it was only a year ago that we were there, and I mean the market is up over 50% in the last 20 months. So it's really not that ridiculous, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think it fills it this week. I think that we're probably going to bounce into probably the weekend. But we got to get really careful around Thursday. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. We'll just have to see. Got to let the market show us its hand first. And yeah, 14. Yeah, everything gapped up. Although this one wasn't as egregious. I think the Qs were worse. Where would that have been? Yeah, right there. Yeah, right about there. Yeah, I definitely favor, if there's anything we're gonna fade, it's gonna be the Nasdaq. If we just look at the weakness here. You couldn't even challenge this high. You didn't even pierce it or anything. And then I don't see it getting much higher than this is good resistance. Careful for everybody. Probably bulls more so, but careful for everyone. It's like I said, like it could, you're right. It could be we could have a blow off move, and that would, be just as violent. But I think that, based on the long term cycles that I've got going on here, it would make sense that the next move would be a down one to me. And it looks like what we've done over the last month or two is essentially kind of the distribution phase before that top is put in. Like this is a topping process. In fact, you could argue that this was the initial distribution phase, and then this was your blow off, really. And now there's the secondary distribution. Let's look at Nvidia. It's holding up for now. This is headed lower though. You're going to fill this gap here, 232. Got a lot of support right here at the top. You get through that. That's 210. Yes, there's good support there. And then if that, if we really dump out, it's 160 and 150. But that's the thing with parabolic stocks like this. They also come down pretty sharply too. Speaking of, if Tesla closes like anywhere near where it is right now, the month, it's going to get ugly really fast. And that's another thing why I'm leaning towards it being a down cycle. I mean, if this is topped out, this is a brutal reversal here. Brutal reversal. After a parabolic blow-off move, you have that size of a red candle on the monthly. That's very powerful. And because Tesla has become a tumor on the market, when this thing comes down, it's going to take everything with it. You lost this. This was your blow-off. This was your blow-off green bar. Closed below that last week. Yeah, you're into the 20 MA, but this is not even that major. But yeah, Nvidia's going lower, AMD's going lower. I mean, like, yeah, I know like Nvidia's got like good fundamentals and everything, but like it's just ridiculous. This is, you know. Yeah, the VIX fills most gaps. Yeah, I filled that one there. I was really surprised yesterday. I did not think we were going to spike that much. I was actually pretty annoyed. I did not want that spike to happen. I was hoping we would just maybe have a slight gap down. My ideal scenario for this week would have been yesterday we gap down just a little bit and then close green, and then we trade up into the close to the end of the week. And that would hopefully coincide with the VIX dumping out, and that maybe we could get an opportunity to enter there. But that didn't quite happen. So, you know, it's possible. I know, Freed, you were saying middle of January. It's possible that it holds up until then. The end of the year is always tricky because you got the holidays, you got end of year tax loss selling, and then January is always very tricky too because there's always repositioning and so on and so forth. Then you've got quarter four earnings, and so January is a tricky month too. But yeah, I think we're on the edge of something pretty big here, though. Let's take a look at the Russell. Russell had a nice day here. Russell is actually leading today, almost 3% up, but this is lagged. I almost thought about picking up, kind of wish I did. I know we took a stab at TNA a few weeks ago and stopped out of it. I almost went to pick it up again yesterday. Obviously, I didn't, but I like that tail candle on the Russell. That would have been a nice little quick gain for us, but if we already had a couple of longs, I didn't want to go too crazy with it. But again, this is another one that's small caps not behaving very well here. Getting a nice bounce, but the failed breakout, that's a ugly weekly rollover. This is ultimately a dead cat bounce. So I think you're going to 195. And then if things get really ugly, then it's 170. There. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm gonna get going. Anybody else any more questions? I'll answer them for you. I'll try to get the yeah, I'll get some info sent out about the website to everybody with the beta testing. I got all your emails, so we'll try to get that started. I am doing. Oh, I forgot to mention. I am doing the. I do have some work for a course. I know there were some people that wanted to do that, and I'll probably create a Patreon post about that later. So for people who are interested, but yeah, that is also in the works too. So getting ready for that. Hourly time gap at 27. Let's see. It looks like it's filled, but sometimes the VIX fake print. Oh yeah, yeah. I think it goes lower first though. So this gap kind of almost coincides with the. Well, not really. I think we probably get down close to this 17 handle before that fills. But yeah. Thank you, Miranda. All right, guys, I'm gonna get going. Thanks for coming out. Good group tonight. Good discussion. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's check on the futures. It's not 6 o'clock yet, so nothing new there. Yeah, we'll see what happens with oil. Hopefully, that can push up to second target. We're gonna be really careful here. Probably won't take any new trades tomorrow just because we already kind of had a pivot here. And I don't want to over leverage before I know what's actually going on. This market's been tricky, obviously. So I just want to be careful. But in any case, Thanks, guys. I will talk to you all tomorrow, and I'll get in touch with everybody about the beta testing tonight.